Hello and welcome to the preliminary analysis of CAT 24 afternoon slot 2. So those of you who are watching these videos, you would have either taken CAT 24 already, or you may be looking at preparing for CAT 25 or beyond, or you may be just here to look at the information. So let me quickly set the agenda of what we're going to discuss in this video. We're going to quickly and very briefly analyze the initial inputs that are coming in from the takers of CAT 24 in the second slot. Now we have information, a detailed information that we have about the morning slot. We will try and compare the information that we got from the morning slot, detailed information, with the preliminary inputs that we are getting rather from the takers of the afternoon slot. So without much ado, let's go ahead and quickly look at how the CAT 24 slot 2 was. Now here in the table, you can see that we are showing a comparison of slot 2 with slot 1 this year and also of the earlier years. Now the big difference, or the only difference as one may say, is that the number of questions overall has changed. Now this year in both the slots, the total number of questions has been 68, both in slot 1 and slot 2, whereas last year the total number of questions was 66. Now where did this 2 question increment happen? It happened in the DILR section. Now in the DILR section, there were 4 sets of 5 questions each till last year. When I say till last year, the main focus is the last 3 CATs, CAT 21, 22, and 23. So 5 fours, 20 questions is what was there in the DLR section, making a total of 20 questions. But this year, we have seen 22 questions in both slot 1 and slot 2. Now, what is the breakup of these 22 questions? 2 sets of 5 questions each and 3 sets of 4 questions. So 10 plus 12, 22 questions. So which means the students would have, this increment could cut both ways. Students would have more questions, more choice of sets to choose from, but at the same time, they would need to go through a lot more material overall, which would eat into the valuable time of 40 minutes that they have for the question. So therefore, while one may think that they have more choice, they also need to look at it that from the perspective that this is eating into their valuable time, and therefore effectively balance their approach in terms of set selection, question selection, etc. in the exam, so that they can eventually maximize their score by making sure that they do not miss out on the easier questions, which is the funda always. We have been saying this always, all the time: maximize your score, do not miss out on easy questions, make sure you don't get stuck on difficult questions. Follow that mantra, make sure that you select the questions or sets appropriately and maximize your score. Anyway, coming back to the pattern comparison, RC, as you can see, both slot 1 and slot 2 this year and the last 3 slots were consistent at 16, verbal ability at 18, and quant at 22. So no surprises there as far as the overall pattern goes. There were MCQs, there were non-MCQs, the TITA questions, type in the answer questions, which have thankfully no negative marking, right? So all these features, overall the exam looks very, very similar as far as the pattern goes, similar to last year, the year before, and the year before that, right? With that one minor change of 2 additional questions in DILR. Let's now look at the difficulty level of the afternoon slot, compare it with the morning slot and the 3 previous CATs. Now, as we have seen in the pattern, there is a small surprise. As far as the difficulty level goes, there are actually surprises for good reasons. Good reasons because the feedback that we get from students says that across the 3 sections, the CAT has been relatively easier. Now, can I use the word much easier, a lot more easier? Not sure at this point of time, because as I said, we are only receiving initial input from students and this is only preliminary analysis. When we do our deep dive analysis, we'll try and tell you exactly how easy this slot is compared to the morning slot or compared to the previous slots. But at this point of time, we can definitely say that the afternoon slot is easy. It has been easier across all the 3 sections, VARC, DILR, and quant, compared to the last 3 CATs. Now, compared to the morning slot, if there is any difference or not, let's see. Now, Overall, the biggest reason contributing to the difficulty level dropping in VARC this year seems to be that the readability of the passages has been much better this year compared to the passages of last year. The toughest of the passages last year versus the toughest of the passages this year, if one compares, apparently the toughest passage this year is a lot more readable compared to the toughest passage last year. So readability is better, therefore a lot more time available for the students to analyze and spend on the questions instead of wasting it on reading. So that could potentially push the scores up overall, right? Verbal ability, as far as verbal ability goes, there seems to be not too much of a difference between the difficulty level last year and this year. However, there is a bit of a change in the verbal ability also, which we did not discuss at length when we were discussing the pattern. While the number of questions did remain at 8 in verbal ability, one change that has been observed both in the morning slot and in the afternoon slot is that the para formation questions were absent this year. There were 3 sentence placement questions, there were 3 para summary questions, and 2 odd man out questions, adding up to the 8 verbal ability questions. So that means that the para formation questions, which have been a consistent feature more or less in almost all the CATs of late, they are missing this year, right? Now, regardless, coming back to the difficulty level in VARC does not seem to be too different from what was observed last year and the years before that. But overall, because of the better readability of RC passages, the number of attempts that one could make in the test is expected to go up, and therefore the cutoffs are expected to slightly be more than the cutoffs seen last year. Moving on to, obviously, in VARC, as all of you know, it's a silent killer. We think that we attempted the question and we got it right, but we end up not being very happy with the eventual result when the scores come out. Because we don't know if we have really made a mistake. Unlike maths, 2 plus 2 is 4 in maths. Here it could be 3.9, 4.1, 4.2 also. So you really would not know. So do not kind of put extreme high hopes on that you will get a specific score. Kind of hold on, let the key come out, make sure you evaluate your answers, and then look at what is it that you're going to get. Then moving on to DALR. In DALR, last year and the year before, this section has been the section which was a bugbear for many students. Students were afraid of touching DALR. But thankfully this year, the reports coming in from the morning slot and the initial reports coming in from the afternoon slot, both of them confirm that there's one definite do set or can do set for almost everybody. One set definitely and another attemptable set. So almost up to 2 doable sets in DALR have been observed in both the morning slot and in the afternoon slot. This again makes the DALR of this year easier compared to the last 3 CATs, right? That is again a reason why the cutoff in this section could go up because of the lower difficulty level relatively. And compared to the slight observation again, comparison between morning slot and afternoon slot. In the morning slot, the most doable section had 4 questions apparently. And now in the afternoon slot, the most doable set seems to have had 5 questions. So that is kind of a boon to the students. The set with the maximum number of questions and also easy at the same time. So that is something that you wouldn't generally expect with the CAT. And thankfully, the afternoon slot students seem to have got that. And moving on, Quant, not much of surprises here. As we have seen, very consistent across the last 3 years and the morning slot and the afternoon slot. No big surprises in terms of skew towards any particular area. However, the morning slot has seen a lot of arithmetic compared to last year. So therefore, the cutoffs are expected to go up. Similar feedback is trickling in about the afternoon slot as well. So therefore, one can at this point of time say that the cutoffs in quant, the sectional cutoffs in quant are also expected to go up. So therefore, net across all the 3 sections, we can expect the cutoffs to move up, and therefore overall cutoffs are also expected to go up accordingly. So to what extent would are these cutoffs expected to go up? To what extent is the overall cutoff expected to go up? All these details We'll make them available to you very shortly in a couple of hours or even earlier than that. So stay tuned and make sure you follow our analysis pages. Thank you and all the best.